Maybe the greatest idea in my life came about 4 years ago, and it kind of synthesized the past 15 years of my life. I didn't want to go into the restaurant business, but I had a proposition, a very beautiful place in an old warehouse on Christianshavn, and my idea was to actually build a Nordic restaurant. And that was very strange because no top restaurants would have that profile. Every top chef in Denmark and in Sweden and Norway would work with foie gras, breast chicken, French cheese, Italian olive oil, truffles, caviar. I mean, nobody would ever imagine that you could build a top restaurant on rye, onion, green cabbage, fish from the Danish Sea, and herbs from gardens in Denmark. But René Redzepi came to me, and I had this restaurant, and we decided to become partners at Noma, and we wrote in our first menu that we want to redefine the Nordic cuisine so that it embraces the Arctic and brightens the world by virtue of its taste and the stories it communicates. That was the whole idea of the restaurant to be known as Noma. And we never ever dreamt of Michelin stars or being famous in the world. We just wanted we thought it could be done. Our colleagues, they made fun of us because they thought we would be serving whale and rotten Greenlandic birds and seal fat and things like that. We were in the Atlantic House. It was the same house that also houses the representation in Denmark of the Faroe Island, Iceland, and Greenland. And nobody had ever thought about that before. We've got the Mediterranean cuisine, the Asian cuisine, the Pacific Rim, but the fucking Nordic cuisine. If you would say the Danish cuisine, that is, you know, everything we have inherited from the past. Something could be given on to next generations, and the rest should be maybe buried. So it was a chance to define what this would all be about. That was just that was the Uber thing. I mean, I can't go deeply into this. I mean, but the milk we drink today is not the milk we had 100 years ago. I mean, it is not the same quality. But of course, you could learn from the past, and you could deal with cows in a different way, and that is also what the new Nordic cuisine about. The new Nordic cuisine is also about diversity, true competition, and a true diversity when it comes to the stories of origin and the dreams that different products communicate. We quickly felt at Noma that this idea of defining a foie gras and olive oil free territory in the Danish restaurant business had a potential. And after 5 months, we invited ministers and top managers from the greatest and biggest food companies in the whole Nordic region, food journalists and premium chefs from each of the Nordic countries to a symposium in Copenhagen on the top of Noma. We thought the timing was great. And this was everything that our societies were looking out for, because we were in the new luxury area. People actually wanted to spend money, also in the food area, but they had no chance of spending it on Nordic food because all Nordic food companies were sleeping. So our dream was to unite chefs and farmers in all Nordic countries, small and big companies, politicians and private people, around a common idea, namely to define the contours of a new Nordic cuisine, something to strive for, a vision that could be a guiding light to us all in our daily work, in our farms, in our food companies, in our restaurants. And what we did was we asked the chefs to formulate in an 18-hour-long workshop a manifesto for the new Nordic cuisine. And this came to, this is the manifesto. And 5 months after the birth of this manifesto, these values were adopted by the Nordic Council of Ministers through the so-called Aarhus Declaration. And 7 months later, the Nordic Council of Ministers had defined the new Nordic mad, the new Nordic food program that has been supported by individual money from each of the Nordic countries, so that 500 million Danish kroners is spent every year the next 5 years in the Nordic region on promoting products, cooperations, new businesses, marketing processes, basic research and product development that is based on these values that I don't have the time to share with you in depth. But the main idea is that we should not make milk that tastes like milk in Brazil or Poland. We should make products that are unique to our region because they benefit from the quality of the soil and the quality of the particular climate in this part of the world, so that the products become outstanding and unique and seductive, just as the wine from Burgundy or the wine from Alsace that also communicate those qualities in those territories. And so what has happened with, getting back to the companies again, Noma, due to René's talent, I did not know that once again, I didn't imagine that Søren Sylvestre could form the world champion in the art of being a barista, but it was an even more bigger surprise to me that René Redzepi, within 4 years, would have won 2 Michelin stars and being voted number 15 restaurant in the world by the Restaurant magazine. The only thing I did was to find him and to coach him the first 2 years and to bring into his heart this idea of fighting for something bigger than his fucking top line and his profit, and to sharing that idea with every employee in the restaurant. And the rest, he had it in himself. And it is a tremendous success, and Noma is a symbol of the potential of the new